Well, greetings and salutations, Series 7 test takers. This is the Series 7 guru coming to you from my off-grid undisclosed studio with an explication request. This is a Kaplan question. If it's a Kaplan question, you can just send me the QID backstage. This one's 1558247, and I can bring it up. If you don't have a Kaplan Q Bank, I highly recommend it as a paid supplement. With my 15% discount code at checkout, Guru15, you can get the almost 4,000 practice questions for $55.80. It also has a performance tracker, which I think makes it best in class. So you can kind of find your areas you're weak and remediate on those. For that commercial, Kaplan allows me to view, look at their content like this. If it's another vendor, I'm more than happy to help you, but you'd have to screenshot that and email your explication request to explicationrequest@guruexamprep.com. All right, let's take a look at this one. An investor sold a corporate bond with a 5% coupon with a net price of 101. The bond has accrued interest of 45 days. So they're point blank just telling you 45 days of accrued interest. Accrued interest is paid by the buyer to the seller. So here, if I'm selling this bond to you, I say, listen, you're going to get a check that represents the entire 6-month time frame of 180 days, and I've held it for 45 of those. So I need you to add to your check the dollar amount of the accrued interest. So besides the price that's going to be on the confirmation, there's going to be that accrued interest. Which of the following statements regarding the confirmation of this trade is true? Okay, so let's get started in answering this question about what's going to be on the confirmation. What this is testing you on is on the Uniform Practice Code, buyers pay sellers the dollar amount of accrued interest calculated from the last interest payment date up to, but not including settlement. All right, so this is a bond that has a 5% coupon. So 5% on par is $50 in annual interest or $25 semi-annually. We should know that on the Uniform Practice Code, every month has 30 days, and that means the year is 360. So lots of ways to do math. So I wouldn't be, get too upset if you've done it some different way, as long as you come to the answer. So here, to get the interest per day, which is where I'm going, I can either take the 50 divided by 360 or the 25 divided by 180, because that represents the 6-month time frame of 30 days. I'm going to go the $25 route. 101% of par. Par's 1,000, that's 1,010. So remember, not only does the price need to be paid, by the way, kind of confusing, but they're trying to confuse you sometimes, but it's paid once. We're going to do this math once. It's paid by the seller to the buyer. Accrued interest is, that could be another question, right? You want to think if somebody's adding, somebody's subtracting. No. All right, so the 1,010, now we got to figure out how much of a accrued interest is owed. So we're going to do 25 divided by 180, and we find it's almost 14 cents in interest per day. Where that $25 represents the entire 6-month time frame, 6-month, 30 days, so almost 14 cents a day. We have 45 days here of accrued interest. So I take the interest per day, I times it by 45, and I find out $6.25 is going to be the dollar amount of the accrued interest. So the total dollar amount on the confirm, and that's the answer. What they're asking you in this, I didn't put the answer set up here, but the answer is what is the total dollar amount, right? And they give you various amounts and you got to figure it out. Anyways, I didn't want to cloud your mind with the wrong answers. We're just interested in the right answer. So the buyer is going to pay the seller $1,010 for the bond and then the $6.25 in accrued interest. So that would be a total price of $1,016.25. That is the total dollar amount the seller is going to receive and that the buyer is going to pay. As I said, can't tell you when I was a practitioner how many customers get confused about this, not paying attention to the confirmation. And the buyer says, hey, Dean, I sent in 1,010. What's the $6.25 about? I said, well, that's what you, the buyer, owe the seller in terms of accrued interest. Will you see accrued interest? Yes, mostly recognition, but every once in a while they ask you to calculate this. It's a very low probability you're going to have to calculate it, but very high probability you should have a general understanding of accrued interest under the Uniform Practice Code, which standardizes trading practices within the securities industry. All right, well, remember, inch by inch, Your exam is a cinch, yard by yard. Your exam is hard, and I will see you for the next explication request.